if you ever really want to see your business transform to another level, you really have to figure out what are you doing that you can pay somebody else to do.
Follow the Leader features dynamic women entrepreneurs in their journeys to becoming a success in business. This podcast is an inspirational space for entrepreneurs, future entrepreneurs, and thought leaders as they share their keys to success. I am Chanel Christoph Davis, the CEO and founding partner of the largest woman and minority-owned sales tax advisory practice in the country, Davis & Harmon, LLC. Dr. Alicia Makaye. She is the co-founder and vice president of GXA, a Dallas-based consulting practice in the internet IT service field. She's a veteran of the U.S. Air Force, a graduate of Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses. Her company won the Inc. 5000 Fastest Growing Company Award. Her firm has 22 staff, and they have served over 300 business clients in the local DFW area. So welcome to the show, Alicia. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Well, I just wanted to talk to you, Alicia, because we've been visiting and networking and getting to know each other a little bit better, and I thought your story was very informative and would be helpful to our listeners. So let's just get into it.
All right, I'm ready.
So how did you start? What made you start your business? Take me to the beginning.
Ooh, I think the key word, or what really stands out of how and when and what, is the napkin.
Okay.
George is the other co-owner, and he's my business partner, and he is my husband.
Okay.
And he had this really great idea. He says, "Hey, I think I can do it on my own, and we should do it together." And we were actually flying to Las Vegas on our 1-year marriage anniversary trip. We were celebrating our first year. Mm-hmm. So we were on the plane, and you know how they pass out the little snacks?
Yes.
And they give you the napkin?
Yes.
And so we didn't have anything to write on. So that was all we had to write on, was that napkin. And we actually came up with the name GXA, and it stands for George and Alicia.
That's so cool.
And we actually drew out our logo, which is our logo as of today, on that napkin on the way to Las Vegas.
For your wedding anniversary.
For our wedding anniversary.
How cool.
And so we definitely knew we wanted it to be IT. He is the IT guru, professional, brilliant IT person, and he was being pulled in so many different directions.
Okay.
Because that's where his talent is and his skill set. And then he just said, "Hey, why don't you come with me?" And I said, "Okay."
Wow.
Yes. I said yes.
Okay. So what was the first thing once you got back from your anniversary? What was the first thing you guys set out to do to start the ball rolling?
We actually had decided to save 1 year of income. He was in the IT field, and at that particular time, I was actually teaching school. Mm-hmm. So HR is my background, human resources, and the class that I was teaching was basically how to do resumes, job interviews, and so my graduate degree is in HR, and I said, hey, I could go ahead and start, behind the scenes putting together the HR material for, behind the scenes. So once we saved up 1 year of income, he decided he would walk away first.
Okay.
So he walked away from his job first. And at that particular time, he only had one client. Mm-hmm. I continued to stay on my job. And I said, well, I'll walk away. However, I had a but in there. But I want to start a PhD also. Okay. So I went ahead and applied for the PhD program at UT Dallas. Okay. Got into the program, and I said, once I start the PhD program, then what we'll do is at the same time is I'll go to school and I'll do the business at the same time as you're getting us.
Getting the foundation
yes,
going.
Absolutely. So sure enough, that one client ended up turning into 2, ended up turning into 3, and he became so busy. He was like, oh my gosh, I need help. And I said, okay, no big deal. Let's hire our first employee. And we hired our first employee, which is actually still working for us right to this day.
That's amazing.
And so
12 years later, that's a testimony.
He's still with us. Hired him, and at that particular time, we didn't quite have the structure that, to actually bring on employees. So I really had to get busy. It took off a lot faster than what I thought it was going to take off. So I started writing the handbooks, started doing the applications, started looking up all the laws. At that particular time, when we started business, you couldn't buy a handbook.
Right.
That just wasn't possible.
It didn't exist.
No. You couldn't Google a handbook. So it was the old-fashioned Microsoft Word, going to the library and just putting a pen on the paper, and just starting, the paperwork, the groundwork paperwork, from ground zero. And as time went on, we needed office space. And so I would go out there looking for the space. And when we hired our first employee, of course, it was so funny how it happened. He was literally our first interview.
Wow.
And George met him at Starbucks and just said, "You're hired." We didn't have office space, so he put that particular employee at a client site.
Okay, got you. Set them out there. That makes sense.
Yes,
yeah.
Put him at a client site. And then George, at that time, we were in the house, but then he needed office space, so he went to another client site and was using a cubicle.
Okay.
And I was like, we need to get some business cards.
Okay.
And it was just old fashioned, behind, just starting from ground zero.
From the
basics.
basics.
Yes, getting your corporate structure put together, and just going from one piece of paper to the next piece of paper to the next piece of paper.
Right. And pulling it all together.
But it was organically grown.
So the first employee that you guys hired was how many years into the business from when your husband actually stopped working and started the firm or the company?
I want to say we had been in for about 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
That's
really fast.
Before we actually hired employee number 1.
That's really fast. So did you guys know in the beginning before you started that, because a lot of people basically start businesses and they're solo entrepreneurs forever. They never ever think to grow the business outside of themselves. Does it make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
They're just going to be a solo entrepreneur. They're going to go from project to project. Did you guys know in the beginning that you weren't going to do that you were going to grow this business? That was a goal to actually hire employees and to expand your bandwidth and grow, that way?
No, absolutely not.
No?
Our motivation behind starting a business was to give back. George and I, we always went out on a lot of mission trips with our church. And we felt like we could give more and do more and have more control over our time and also financial. If we basically ventured on our own.
Okay.
So the motivation behind starting the business was all mission driven.
Wow.
It was just being on the mission field and what we had seen out there in the world, and we felt like we had the skill set to basically be able to give back on a larger scale.
Okay.
So when we did it, it wasn't because we wanted employees, we wanted a company, or none of that was on our mind. No,
Okay.
It really, our first employee came out of demand.
Wow.
Like, he just couldn't keep up anymore. Yes.
And we're going to put a pin in that mission piece, because that's the part I want to talk to you about as well. So you actually hire your first employee. It seemed like you were picking up pretty fast. 2 to 3 years that's a fast turnaround for a startup. Typically, it takes them 5 to 6, even sometimes 10 years to hire an employee. So what do you think you guys provided? What was your niche or skill set that made you so much in demand?
Really, the technology at that particular time was just now taking off. That technology bubble, I don't know if you recall that we had a technology bubble that ended up bursting.
Yes.
That we came on right before the technology bubble. So that technology was driving the industry at such a rate that I think businesses didn't know what to do with it.
Right, they didn't know how to keep up with the change in technology.
Yes, and the internet was becoming very popular. That .com era, That was
it was booming.
Yes, that was us. We were on the tail end of that .com era, and then the technology was changing, and it was changing the landscape of how people do business. So, and that put such a high demand on
your services,
the needs and the services. And because we were a small business, we were affordable. So
and nimble, you can get up and get to a project.
And go, yes. And so affordability, being able to really meet the demands of other businesses very quickly, really it helped us stand apart. And in George, I mean, his technical aptitude is so amazing. And people, and basically another company asked him, would you place somebody in my business?
Yeah, just to sit in-house.
Yes, just we trust you with our technology. They asked him, would you be willing to bring somebody in? We don't know what we're doing. So would you be willing to bring somebody in and place them in our business? And we'll pay you to do it.
Okay.
And he said, yes, I'll do that. And so it was really out of just basic demand. It was a business niche and a business demand, which was driving, a demand for us.
Yes.
And so that's what was really different. So when that .com season happened and it burst, because it did burst, that put us in a higher demand because we were still affordable.
Wow.
We were still affordable. And so that's when literally our business, when everybody else was suffering, we were actually doing really well.
Wow.
And so because of the fact that when the .com era, when it burst, people could not find anyone to service them for technology.
Interesting.
Yes.
Because a lot of companies went out of business.
A lot of companies went out of business, and that's when we were actually picking up. So we were able to ride out that season and do very well during that particular time. And we were still a small business, but it had picked up. Of course, we went from 1 employee to 2 employees. Everything was picking up for us.
Right. And I think also you benefit from the fact that your headquarters is in Richardson, which is a technology hub for Dallas.
Yes.
And so when people are looking for technology-based companies or service providers, that's kind of an area that they kind of go to look for talent.
Yes.
So that was a very wise choice to place your headquarters.
Yes,
in
sitting in the IT corridor.
Yes.
In the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
So
yes.
You guys made a lot of great decisions early on. That couldn't have all have been serendipitous. Some of that stuff had to be a plan. I mean, you made some great decisions.
Well, even where we actually planted our feet at, it was because, we had other technology friends.
Yes.
And they were kind of giving us advice and, this is where you should place your business. And, they were giving us little bits and pieces. And at that time, anything that anybody gave us,
y'all took it and ran.
Yeah, we took it and ran with it.
No, I'm glad you said that too, because I met you 2 years ago,
yes,
randomly, just by chance at a networking event, a happy hour after the event.
Yes.
And I walked up to you and spoke to you, and we kind of connected and hit it off.
Yep.
And I told you, I said, I have a program for you. I just graduated, a year or 2 ago. I really think that this might be a good fit for you. You were the first person I've ever referred to Goldman Sachs that actually left an event, went home that night, and applied. I've never had that experience ever. Literally, I pass information on to people. I think, this is a good fit. And I asked you a couple of qualifying questions, like, how many employees do you have? How long have you been in business? And, I was like, okay, yeah. So, because Goldman Sachs has criteria for who they allow to go through the program. And you answered all those questions, right on. I was like, okay, yeah, you have to do this program. And you were like, yeah, give me the information. I'm going to do it. So, yeah, you guys are very good at, taking advice and really just taking advantage of, opportunities and running with it.
Oh, in the business arena, you really have to have a really keen instinct of when to go, when to pull back, when to run.
Yes.
That and it has to be when you hear it, you got to catch it when it's in the air.
Yes.
Literally.
And you caught it and you ran with it.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. That's a great tip for anyone out there who wants to be a future entrepreneur.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. You have to, when people are giving you advice, you have to actually be willing and open to hear
Yes.
what people are trying to tell
Hear
you.
and receive and go through the doors.
Yes,
go
absolutely.
through the door.
Absolutely. And so you guys really went through a startup phase that was kind of momentous and, fast moving. You kind of came into the business at a great time when technology was kind of a bubble burst in Dallas. And I remember those days. It was tough.
Mm-hmm.
It was very tough, but you guys benefited from that.
Yes.
Because a lot of companies fell away and you kind of was able to grow and shine through that era. So companies kind of go through several different phases. You have the startup phase, and then you have a phase where you're kind of building your foundation and shoring up your structure. Like you were talking about, you have to kind of, come up with your policies, your controls, all that stuff was grassroots. You had to come up with it organically and on the spot. And then you kind of transition to really a whole different level of your business. Once you've acquired your clients and you're going at a steady pace, companies can either get complacent and kind of do the same old, or I've seen companies level up, so to speak, and really take their companies to the next level. I feel like that's where you are now. I feel like you're really transforming yourself again.
Oh, yes. You have to. You don't have any choice if you want to stay relevant in the industry.
Yeah, so I think you're at an exciting time because you used to be really behind the scenes in your company. Mm-hmm. You were over human resources and really taking care of a lot of policies and controls and employee issues. Mm-hmm. But now you're transitioning to a different role in your company.
Absolutely. I'm moving. I feel like I'm moving more into the ownership role instead of working in the business, working on the business.
And that's so crucial. Let's talk about that. Why do you think that's important?
Oh my goodness! If you ever really want to see your business transform to another level, you really have to figure out what are you doing that you can pay somebody else to do.
Yes.
I'll go back to Goldman Sachs because that's basically where I got that from. Mm-hmm. Give them their due credit. Mm-hmm. They basically said, what are you doing that someone else can do, and how now do you got to bring value to yourself? Mm-hmm. And that was a game changer for me. Mm-hmm. And so now when I go to the office, I literally I make myself stop and say, wait a minute,
why am I doing this?
Because we've been, as being an entrepreneur, nothing is off the table as far as what you can do with your business either. And when I say nothing is off the table, from cleaning the office to vacuuming, to running the marketing, to, basically hiring the employees, you have to really be a
jack of all trades.
And so, and finally, when I said, okay, listen, yes, I'm skilled in HR. That's where the bulk of my education lies. I've always been working the accounting behind the scenes, making sure all the bills get paid. But can I actually really hire somebody to do this? And
can my time be better served and spent somewhere else? Because
nobody can talk about my business the way I can talk about it.
Absolutely.
And so when I actually started looking at it from that, I guess from that angle, it's like now the right people are falling in place.
Yes.
When I finally said, okay, it's almost like I just put out there, around me to say, I really need you to do this, but I'm not going to do it for you because I really got other things I got to go do.
Absolutely.
And how do I bring the most value what can I do, and what do I have in my hand where I can bring the most value at? Telling my story, talking about how we got started. You can't pay anybody to do that.
Absolutely.
So and now things are really turning the corner, and I've said yes to being an owner and start working on the business
and stepping into that role.
Absolutely.
And I think too, when you're an entrepreneur and you've actually grown something from nothing, like you've created a concept and you built it from nothing, it's so easy to fall in a trap of working in your business. There's always going to be a project, there's always going to be a task or something that's critical that has to be taken care of in your business, and you fall into that mind space where my office needs me. or I have to do this, or it won't be done well. And it's very difficult to break that mindset and realize, really step back, look up, take the blinders off, and look around you and think about, what opportunities am I missing? What am I missing in this picture? What can I do better? Where is my time better spent? So I've seen you, I've watched you do some really exciting things here recently that you want to share. Very recently.
Yes. Oh, okay. It's so much that's going on right now. I mean,
you did a very interesting, probably got a lot of national press.
Yes. Okay, so two big things has happened for GXA recently. One of the huge things that's happened is we got approved for a grant. We were one of 3 companies that got a grant that was over $500,000.
Wow.
It's about $526,000.
Amazing.
That in this particular grant, and this grant is called the Skills Development Fund grant, and it's part of the Texas Workforce Commission. And what they basically do, they have a $48 million available, training money available to small and medium-sized businesses to bring training and deliver it to their, to your business. And they bring the trainer into your office. So basically, I've been working with Richland College very closely, and I had to partner with 2 other companies because we are not big enough to carry the grant alone. And so we partnered with a larger company in the IT corridor that's literally less than a mile from us. And they basically were the parent company of this grant, and they let us tag along. And we actually got to write the ticket of what type of training we wanted to deliver in our office. So right now in our office, we have a trainer and he flew in from New York. He's training our staff on certified ethical hacking. This particular trainer, the quality of training, this trainer worked with Elon Musk.
Wow.
And when Elon Musk was getting ready to, he had put out, I think, the first version of the Tesla. He had actually hacked his car. And
oh, wow.
Yes.
To make the first Tesla.
Yes. And so because he wanted to find out how secure was the Tesla, because the Teslas are self-driving cars.
Right.
So he hacked Elon Musk's Tesla and started driving it.
Wow.
While he was sitting in his office. That is the quality of training that is coming in my office. And I'm a small business.
Yes.
And so probably I would not have ever been able to write
to afford something like that.
To write the ticket for this type of quality of training that's coming, that's available to small businesses, and that you can get if you are getting out there and really are looking for grant money on how to train your employees. It's available and it's out there. And so I have to give all kudos to the corporate director at Richland College. Her name is Juana Leonard, and she definitely gave me permission to put her name out there.
Awesome.
And she said, hey, if anybody wants this grant money, contact me. And she definitely is a person who, I call her the money lady. She can get you money to your business. As a matter of fact, Chanel, she did tell me that she wants to go to lunch with you.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Hey, right here, you heard it first. Okay.
Yes. So, and then she did tell me you were in her district. So,
oh, wow.
Yes. So
okay, cool.
We'll be talking after the show and she did say,
connect? Okay.
Yes, that we could actually partner together to get some money.
I love that.
So I'm throwing that your way.
Okay, girl, I'm going to catch that ball.
Oh, you'll catch it?
I'm going to catch it.
Okay.
All right now.
Okay.
Well, I think you said a couple key things. Rich, just for the audience who may not be based in Texas, Texas Workforce Commission is who we pay our unemployment monies to. So whenever we run payroll and we collect certain percentage that we pay into the system for unemployment tax, that goes to the Texas Workforce Commission. So they have a fund of money.
They have a fund of money
from all the companies in the state of Texas that they parse out a portion of it to educate the workforce. So the money is just sitting there. We're paying into this, but a lot of companies don't even know that this exists.
Absolutely. And I know in 2016, they awarded 43 Skills Development Fund grants totaling $26 million.
Wow.
They've served at least 98 Texas businesses. They've supported the creation of 3,942 new jobs, and they've upgraded the skills for 9,333 workers that are in existing jobs.
Wow.
So this money is real. It's definitely it's available for you if you are a small business owner sitting in Texas.
So for those who are listening who own a business,
yes,
Alicia is giving you guys a little bit of a ball. She's passing you guys a ball.
Yes.
You need to get connected with your local college district.
Yes.
And find out who's in charge of this grant money, because Richland College is in our district. It's a community college in our district,
yes,
but it may be a different district for you depending on what county you're sitting in.
Absolutely.
So that is amazing.
Absolutely.
So what else have you found out since you left the office?
Oh my goodness.
To stop doing all that payroll running that you were doing.
I know, right? So one thing that GXA does is we have a program called GXA Cares. Mm-hmm. And this was why we started the businesses, because we wanted to give back. We wanted to give internationally. We wanted to give locally. And it's been a blessing because we have been able to give back. We've been able to give back a portion of all of our proceeds.
That's awesome.
To probably well over 30 nonprofits in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and also internationally.
Amazing.
And so we're basically present on the international landscape, but we're also present here locally. Well, just recently, GXA partnered with Minnie's Pantry. Mm-hmm. Minnie's Pantry is a local pantry who basically gives to homeless people. They provide food, mm-hmm, and food, clothing to homeless people in the local area. They are based out of Plano, Texas. Well, they had a charity gala that they basically was raising funds for
the pantry. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and so we were one of the corporate sponsors. Corporate sponsorship is very important for businesses. It gets your names out. It gets your name out there. It's brand awareness. And so I was approached.
PR.
It's
Mm-hmm.
PR. I was approached by the owner of Minnie's, and she asked me, would we be interested in being a corporate sponsor? And I said yes to it. And so for this particular event, Oprah Winfrey was the guest of honor and the speaker.
I saw the pictures, girl.
Did you see the pictures?
It was fabulous.
And so
you looked amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Yes.
So we were not only were we able to feed 75,000 people. That was with our table, and then even that night I think we fed about even additional 5,000 people because it was a fundraiser.
So people were giving money on the spot.
People were giving money on the spot. So GXA, we definitely fed, with our table by itself, it provided 80,000 meals.
Wow.
And had an opportunity that night with Oprah, who also is huge on giving back to the community. So, mm-hmm, she came here to do nothing but to give back.
Okay.
That was her entire mission, was to give back to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So the impact that we had that night as just being a corporate sponsor, but also in the room, that pantry that night raised over $1.2 million.
Incredible.
And that's just being a part of the bigger mission of just humanity.
Yes, giving back to the human race.
Yes, yeah. And that's what we do. That's why we started the business. And so I am so just overly excited about why we started this business is actually taking off, and
it's coming to fruition.
Yes, absolutely. And we're making difference in lives.
I see it. I see that you're definitely pivoting, really hard towards, I think what, your original mission was for yourself, Alicia. You're actually stepping into that role in those shoes, and I can see it.
Yes.
It's really beautiful to watch.
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. I read your profile, and I'm like, wow, amongst, you have some great accomplishments and great accolades in your background. The fact that you're a veteran for the U.S. Air Force,
yes,
and I see there's a strong education background. Even in the Air Force, you were in education and, teaching the troops a lot about safety and public health and safety. I saw that thread throughout your whole profile.
Yes.
Another thing I saw was your advocacy. You've been giving back to the local and international communities since the very beginning.
Oh, absolutely.
Where did that come from?
Oh, I would say just I would really say just my upbringing.
Your upbringing?
Yeah, my mom and my
mom?
dad. Yes. I mean, I'm rooted, grounded in the church. I mean, that's just, that was just how we did it. I mean, I'm from Texas, and so we basically, that was kind of, my mother really instilled in me, you know, we got to go and give back. Mm-hmm. We got to go and volunteer. And that was just a part of who I am, because so many people gave to me, Chanel.
Yes.
You know, like when I'm sitting here, I got a whole bunch of people's shoulders I'm standing on right now.
Absolutely.
And so, and I you know, I got so many Sunday school teachers and just so many teachers around me, amazing neighbors, and that saw more in me.
And sowed seeds into you.
And sowed seeds, and they gave me opportunities to practice, you know, to get up in front of people and speak, and, you know, and say, oh, you can do it. And so that was just rooted in me. Even when I met my husband, I was volunteering. I mean, it just, that was what I did all the time, was always to give me, to give myself, give my skills, my talents, who I am, give it back.
Yeah, and it's all through, I mean, literally, when you read your bio and your profile online, it's all through. I don't know if you realize that.
I have not.
Yes,
I didn't even think of it like that.
Like, there's like 4 pages of volunteerism. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, wow. I mean, to me, that speaks volumes about you.
But, you know, even our mission at GXA, Chanel, is all about service.
That's beautiful.
Just serve.
Yes.
Just serve. You know, I do believe that your gift to make room for you, but serving has literally been the biggest blessing for me. And it has taken me in places unimaginable. Just raising your hand up and saying, I'll go do it. Even when I was unemployed and prior to owning a business, the one staple thing that I was always doing
was volunteering.
Amazing. Absolutely.
Amazing. And now you're able to share that gift and, I guess, extend that passion to your employees.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what separates us from other IT companies in the industry, is the community
outreach piece of it.
Absolutely going, and, you know, and so, you know, I know the charity galas are the fun part. That's fun, but I mean, we went and volunteered in the pantry. It's hard work.
Yes.
You know, stocking shelves, it's nothing glorious about working in a pantry.
Yeah.
You're mopping the floor, stocking the shelf, counting meat, adding up the totals of food.
Yes.
It's nothing glorious about that.
Wow. So you would take days off from your company and have your staff to help at the pantry at Minnie's.
We closed our office down for a half a day, and we told everybody, I'll meet you at the pantry.
Okay.
I will see you at the pantry.
That's awesome.
Put the computers down, put the phones down, and
let's get to work.
And let's go give.
Yeah.
Let's go give back.
Yeah.
You know, and that every time when I interview people, Chanel, people always, and you know, we didn't do it for a PR stunt or anything like that, but people always say that about us. They said, we love how much you give back to the community.
Yes.
That's one of the things that over the years and the number of people I've interviewed and spoken to, that they have noticed about us.
That's amazing.
Yes.
It's a differentiator for real. It really is. It's something that people should take note of.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when you're, and again, I think your business grew organically, but you did say one of the pillars of why you started your business was for mission work.
Yes.
So I think if you farm your business with that in mind, you can't lose. There's no way you can lose out.
Right.
Because at the heart of it, it's about giving back to community.
It's about giving back to the community. I believe anytime you start a business, you have to have a higher calling, because you'll get tired. It's not for the faint at heart to start a business.
It's very hard work.
It's very, very hard work. It's long hours. It's sweat. It's tears. It's scary, you know, but there, you know, on the opposite side of that is it's fun. It's glory. It's giving back. So you go through every emotion that you could possibly experience as a human being owning your own business.
Yes.
Period.
Absolutely.
And even days that you feel like quitting, and you still have to have something in you that says, I'm going to get back up. Yeah, I'm going to get back up. I'm going to go back in there, and I'm going to keep moving. Yes.
So, okay, what's up? What's next for Miss Alicia? I feel like we're girlfriends now.
I know, right?
What's up next? What's coming up next for Miss Alicia?
Oh my goodness. Okay, what's next? Okay, I know I do have to transition my role out.
That's different.
Yes,
Listen,
and that's going to be challenging for me.
I've done it over the past, I would say, 12 months. It's hard.
Yes,
it's very hard.
Yes,
even after you hire someone, you're still gonna, like literally. We hired a director of operations and compliance, and she had to come into my office one day and say, listen, give me some, like, I'm going to need you to transition. She told me what I had to give to her. She said, transition this to me. I need it now. Like, we need to start that transition. She was working there for 6 months, and I still was doing things I shouldn't have been. She said, you should not be doing these things. Give this to me. So it's hard.
It is very hard. But that's really tough. But I think what for our company right now, the space that we're in is we are hiring some amazing people.
That's great.
Our staff is making the world of a difference, and we've just had to buckle down and really hold out on hiring out of. You're out of desperation.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
For the right fit.
Yes. And so we're finally in a place that we don't have to hire out of desperation.
That's a beautiful thing.
And it's tough not to hire. When you got to hold out.
Yeah.
And put basically and fill the position. And that person is
not the right person.
not the right person,
but you have a demand from your client.
Yes. Yeah. And so that is really making sure you have the right staff. That before I could even begin to even think about transitioning, the staff have to be right. You have to have some really good people around you. And I do believe now GXA staff, amazing.
Yes.
I mean, we got the top IT people in the industry that's a game changer for us.
Well, that's a whole nother podcast. How you hire, I mean, seriously, that's a skill in and of itself. From an entrepreneur perspective, to how do you hire the right people?
Absolutely.
That's a whole different podcast.
Yes.
Well, I want to ask you, before we wrap up, how do you define a leader? What is a leader to you?
Oh, someone who can recreate the future. And I don't want, maybe recreate is not a good word, but someone who can change the landscape of the future and make the impossible possible. It looks different for not only themselves, but for people around them.
Absolutely.
If you can get people to see the unseen, and that's even, and that can be a mother, that can be the bus driver. If you can just get people to see what otherwise they could not have seen beforehand, that's
a great skill.
That's a great skill. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Well, I think you fit that bill beautifully.
Well, thank you, Chanel.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining me today on Follow the Leader.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you for inviting me in this space.
Yes, absolutely.
Yay.
Okay. To learn more about Dr. Alicia Makaye and GXA IT services, and possibly if you're in the DFW area and you need a free consultation for a small to medium-sized business, visit them online at gxait.com. If you are an IT person and interested in careers in IT, or experienced hire looking for a change in the DFW area, also visit them at gxait.com to learn more about opportunities with their company. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a comment on iTunes or Google Play or any other podcast platform.
You're listening to RNCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.